I had always dreamed of studying in New York City, a place where ambition thrived and dreams turned into reality. The moment I received my acceptance letter from one of the best universities in the world, a wave of excitement washed over me, mingling with a knot of anxiety. This was my chance to pursue a master's degree in English and improve my language skills, but I was also leaving behind the comfort of my hometown, where everything felt familiar and safe. The decision was bittersweet. I knew it would be a journey of growth, but the thought of venturing into the unknown made my heart race. When I finally stepped off the plane at JFK, the city buzzed with energy. The air was thick with possibility, and the streets pulsed with life. My tiny apartment in Brooklyn, a modest space with just enough room for a desk and a bed, felt like a cozy haven amidst the chaos. I decorated it with memories of home, a few photos of my family, a stack of well-loved books, and a plant that I promised to keep alive. Each item was a reminder of where I came from and the journey ahead. That first night, gazing out at the shimmering skyline, I felt an electric rush of determination. This city was teeming with stories, and I was ready to add mine to the tapestry. Classes began, and I found myself surrounded by brilliant minds from all over the globe. The diversity in the classroom was striking. Each student brought a unique perspective shaped by their culture and experiences. My professors were not just educators, they were passionate individuals who challenged us to think critically and express ourselves boldly. I remember my first day in a literature seminar, feeling a mix of admiration and intimidation as my classmates confidently made arguments that seemed to flow effortlessly. I sat there, grappling to articulate my thoughts, my palms sweaty as I took notes feverishly, trying to absorb the rhythm of the discussions. In one of our early sessions, we tackled a contemporary novel that dealt with complex themes of identity and belonging. I spent hours dissecting the text, eager to participate in class discussions. However, when the moment came to share my thoughts, my nerves got the better of me. I stumbled over my words, and despite my preparation, I felt my point was lost in translation. My professor, noticing my hesitation, smiled encouragingly and emphasized that every voice mattered in the discourse. This small acknowledgement fueled my determination to improve. With each passing week, I began to feel more at ease. I spent countless hours in the library, poring over texts, practicing my writing, and refining my arguments. I sought help from my professors and peers, often staying after class to discuss ideas and share insights. My English improved remarkably, not just in speaking but also in writing and comprehension. I found myself increasingly willing to raise my hand and contribute to discussions. The first time I confidently shared my perspective, my heart raced, but the encouraging nods from my classmates and professor made it all worthwhile. Outside of class, I explored the city with newfound friends. I met people from different cultures, each friendship a vibrant thread weaving into the fabric of my New York experience. We spent weekends wandering through Central Park, laughing as we attempted to navigate the subway, and tasting street food from vendors lining the streets. One unforgettable evening, we decided to visit the famous Smorgasburg food market in Williamsburg. The vibrant atmosphere, filled with laughter and the aroma of diverse cuisines, made me realize how connected I felt to these friends. We sampled everything from gourmet donuts to spicy ramen burgers, each bite a testament to the city's incredible diversity. One sunny afternoon, we decided to explore the Metropolitan Museum of Art. As we strolled through the galleries, I felt a sense of wonder wash over me. Surrounded by creativity in all its forms, I realized that art, much like language, had the power to transcend barriers. My friends encouraged me to engage with the exhibits, prompting discussions about the historical context and emotional resonance of the pieces. It was there that I discovered how art could inspire my writing, deepening my appreciation for storytelling and enhancing my understanding of narrative structure. As the semester progressed, I sought out internships to gain practical experience in the literary world. The first one was at a small publishing house, where I assisted with editing manuscripts. I vividly remember my first day. I was handed a stack of submissions, my heart racing with excitement. It was thrilling to see my passion for language transform into tangible work. Each manuscript presented a unique challenge, and I found joy in helping authors refine their stories. I learned about the publishing industry and how narratives were crafted, all while honing my own skills. Each day brought new challenges, from deciphering complex texts to collaborating with writers. I was encouraged to pitch ideas, and with every suggestion I made, I felt my confidence grow. I never imagined I would enjoy this world so much, and it fueled my desire to excel in my studies. During my second internship, I worked with a literary agent who was deeply immersed in contemporary fiction. Her passion for storytelling was infectious, and I found myself in awe of her expertise and ability to connect with authors. She took me under her wing, teaching me how to evaluate manuscripts and understand market trends. One afternoon, while discussing a particularly engaging story, she turned to me and asked for my opinion. My heart raced as I shared my thoughts, and to my surprise, she nodded in agreement and incorporated my suggestions into her feedback for the author. That moment solidified my belief that my voice mattered, and it fueled my ambition even further. The more I engaged with the city, the more I fell in love with it. I attended book readings at local Café Copyright S, where authors shared their work and readers engaged in spirited discussions. I met individuals who were not just dreamers but doers, who inspired me to chase my aspirations. The literary community welcomed me, and I began to feel a sense of belonging. I vividly recall a night at a poetry slam in the East Village. The energy in the room was electric as performers took the stage, sharing their truths through raw and powerful verses. The audience cheered and cried, completely absorbed in the words being spoken. I felt a wave of inspiration wash over me, motivating me to explore my own creative writing. As the year progressed, I began to write more fervently, pouring my thoughts and experiences onto the page. I kept a journal filled with reflections on my journey, the friends I made, and the challenges I faced. Writing became my sanctuary, a space where I could express myself freely and without judgment. I started submitting pieces to university publications and local literary magazines, eager to share my voice with a broader audience. The first time I saw my work published, I couldn't believe it. It was a short story about the bittersweet nature of change, and seeing my name in print filled me with an overwhelming sense of pride and renewed purpose. The city had become my muse, igniting my creativity and pushing me to explore my potential. After a year of hard work and dedication, I graduated with honors. The day of my graduation was surreal. Standing among my peers in our caps and gowns, I felt a profound sense of accomplishment wash over me. My English was fluent, and I had built a network of supportive friends and mentors. The city had transformed me, shaping my dreams and igniting my ambitions. I took a moment to reflect on how far I had come, from a timid student unsure of herself to a confident graduate ready to take on the world. The pride I felt was not just for my academic achievements but for the personal growth I had experienced along the way. Not long after graduation, I landed a job at a prestigious literary agency. My days were filled with reading manuscripts and pitching new authors, and I loved every moment of it. I remember my first week I was assigned to read a manuscript from a debut author who was generating buzz in the industry. As I immersed myself in the story, I felt a rush of excitement. The first time I signed my name on an important document, I felt an overwhelming sense of pride. I had worked hard for this, and it felt like the culmination of everything I had learned. I was contributing to the very world I had long admired. Each new challenge reinforced the confidence I had built during my time in New York. Life in the city was exhilarating. I thrived in the whirlwind of endless opportunities, networking events, and cultural experiences. I attended poetry readings, book launches, and even had the chance to meet some of my literary heroes. One memorable evening, I found myself at a launch party for a best-selling author. As I mingled with fellow attendees, I struck up a conversation with an editor from a major publication. We talked about our favorite authors and the evolving landscape of literature. That night, I realized how far I had come. I was no longer just an observer but an active participant in the literary world. With every experience, I discovered new facets of myself. I attended workshops where writers shared their craft, and I learned how to articulate my thoughts with clarity and precision. The city's literary scene became a playground for my creativity, and I felt empowered to explore my voice. Each networking event introduced me to new people who inspired me, pushing me to take risks and step outside my comfort zone. I remember one particular workshop where we were asked to share our personal stories. I hesitated, my heart pounding as I listened to others speak so passionately about their experiences. But when it was my turn, I took a deep breath and shared my journey, how I had come to New York, the challenges I faced, and the growth I experienced. As I spoke, I felt the weight of my insecurities lift. The room was silent, and when I finished, I was met with applause and genuine appreciation. That moment solidified my belief in the power of storytelling. It showed me that my experiences could resonate with others. As I navigated my career in the literary world, I became more involved in community events and initiatives. I volunteered for a nonprofit organization that aimed to improve literacy among underprivileged children in New York. Each week, I would spend time tutoring young students, helping them find joy in reading and writing. Their enthusiasm was contagious, and I was reminded of the importance of language as a tool for empowerment. I saw firsthand how storytelling could change lives, and it reignited my passion for writing. It was a humbling experience that grounded me, reminding me of the impact words can have. The friendships I formed in New York were invaluable. We supported each other through the ups and downs, sharing our dreams and fears over coffee in bustling Cafe Tilda. Copyright S. I often met my friends at a quaint little place in the West Village, where we would discuss our projects and brainstorm ideas. Those conversations were more than just social gatherings, they were creative incubators where inspiration flowed freely. One night, while brainstorming, I developed an idea for a short story that would later become one of my favorite pieces. The camaraderie we shared became a source of strength, and together we celebrated our successes and navigated our setbacks. New York taught me resiliency, the importance of taking risks, and the value of diverse perspectives. There were moments of doubt, times when I felt overwhelmed by the fast pace of the city or the competitive nature of my field. But I learned to embrace those feelings as part of the journey. Each setback became a lesson, and each success a reason to celebrate. I remember a particularly challenging week when I received several rejections from literary magazines where I had submitted my work. At first, I was disheartened, but I quickly reminded myself that rejection was part of the process. I reached out to my friends for support, and their encouragement renewed my determination to keep writing. As I look back on my journey, I see how much I have evolved. I had learned not just to communicate but to connect. My friendships deepened as we shared our stories and supported each other's dreams. I discovered the beauty of collaboration, how sharing ideas could lead to unexpected insights. The city taught me to value different perspectives and embrace the richness of diversity. The relationships I built were not just about camaraderie, they were about growth. Each friend brought a unique set of experiences and insights that challenged my worldview. For instance, my friend Anya, who hailed from India, introduced me to a wealth of literature I had never encountered before. She would often host book discussions in her apartment, where we would dive into the nuances of authors from different cultures. Those evenings, filled with laughter and intellectual debates, broadened my literary horizons and made me appreciate the universality of storytelling. Another friend, Mark, was a budding playwright. His passion for theater ignited a spark in me, leading to my first experience with scriptwriting. He encouraged me to attend plays around the city, where I learned about character development and dialogue, essential elements that would later enrich my own writing. We often discussed the power of performance and how it could convey emotions that words alone sometimes could not. As my social circle expanded, so did my understanding of language. I began to appreciate the subtleties of English, its idioms, and expressions that were often difficult for non-native speakers. Conversations became a delightful puzzle, where I learned to pick up on nuances that conveyed deeper meanings. My friends would often joke about my literal interpretations, and we'd laugh as I slowly grasped the humor behind phrases like "it's raining cats and dogs." The cultural experiences I had in New York were equally transformative. One of my favorite activities became visiting the various neighborhoods, each with its unique character and charm. In Chinatown, I savored authentic dim sum while practicing my Mandarin with local vendors. The experience was a revelation, a real-world language practice that tested my skills in ways the classroom never could. I learned to navigate a bustling marketplace, bargaining for fresh produce and engaging in friendly banter. Each interaction solidified my confidence and reminded me of the beauty of communication. Then there were the evenings spent at the Lincoln Center, soaking in the magic of ballet and opera. These performances, rich in storytelling and emotion, fueled my passion for writing. I was captivated by the way stories unfolded through movement and music. I began to understand that storytelling wasn't confined to the written word, it was an art form that transcended language altogether. Inspired, I began to incorporate more poetic elements into my writing, blending prose with lyrical imagery. As I became more confident in my abilities, I sought out opportunities to showcase my work. I entered writing competitions and applied for grants, motivated by the desire to share my voice with the world. I often spent late nights perfecting my submissions, the glow of my laptop illuminating my tiny apartment. My dedication paid off when I received an invitation to present my work at the literary festival. The news was surreal. I was ecstatic but also terrified. Public speaking had always been a challenge for me, but I knew this was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. The day of the festival arrived, and my heart raced as I took the stage. The room was filled with eager listeners, all eyes on me. I took a deep breath, remembering the support of my friends and the journey that brought me here. As I read my piece aloud, I felt a wave of empowerment wash over me. The words flowed effortlessly, and the audience responded with applause and encouragement. That moment was a turning point. It solidified my belief in my abilities and showed me that I could conquer my fears. As the years passed, my life in New York continued to flourish. I advanced in my career, taking on more responsibilities at the literary agency. I was involved in exciting projects, collaborating with authors whose works I had admired for years. The thrill of working closely with them, brainstorming ideas and providing feedback, was a dream come true. I found joy in the process of nurturing talent and helping others find their voices, just as I had once sought guidance from mentors. During this time, I also began to mentor aspiring writers. I volunteered at local workshops, where I shared my journey and offered support to those looking to hone their craft. It was a rewarding experience that reminded me of the importance of giving back. The students I worked with inspired me, and their enthusiasm reignited my passion for storytelling. I found myself learning from them as much as they learned from me. As I became more entrenched in the literary community, I was invited to participate in panel discussions and literary events. I found myself sharing the stage with accomplished authors, discussing the intricacies of storytelling and the power of language. Each event was a chance to connect with others who shared my passion, deepening my understanding of literature and its impact on society. I learned about the struggles authors faced, the perseverance required to publish a book, and the importance of community support in the creative process. As I navigated my career, I remained committed to personal growth. I enrolled in advanced writing workshops, constantly seeking to refine my skills and explore new genres. My desire to experiment with different styles led me to take up creative nonfiction, a genre I had never considered before. Writing personal essays allowed me to delve into my own experiences, exploring themes of identity and belonging. I found that sharing my truths not only resonated with others but also fostered a deeper understanding of myself. With each new project, I faced the familiar pangs of self-doubt, but I learned to embrace those feelings as part of the creative process. I developed strategies to combat writer's block, like setting aside specific times to write and allowing myself to create without judgment. I began to view writing as a journey rather than a destination, understanding that the process itself was just as valuable as the final product. One of the most significant milestones in my career came when I decided to pursue my own writing project, a memoir that intertwined my experiences as an immigrant navigating the complexities of language and identity in New York. It was a deeply personal endeavor, one that required vulnerability and courage. I poured my heart into the pages, weaving together stories of triumph and struggle, laughter and tears. As I embarked on this project, I faced challenges that tested my resolve. There were moments of frustration, when words failed me or when I doubted the significance of my story, but I drew strength from the lessons I had learned throughout my journey. I reached out to fellow writers for feedback, seeking their perspectives and encouragement. Their insights helped me refine my narrative, and I felt a sense of camaraderie that reminded me of my early days in New York, when I had first sought guidance from others. Eventually, after months of hard work, I completed a draft of my memoir. I remember the sense of accomplishment I felt as I typed the final words. It was a testament to my growth, and not just as a writer but as an individual who had navigated the complexities of life in a new country. I submitted my manuscript to several literary agents, brimming with hope and anxiety. The waiting period was agonizing, filled with moments of self-doubt. But I reminded myself of the journey that had brought me here. The day I received an email from an agent expressing interest in representing my work was a turning point. I could hardly believe it. I had taken a leap of faith, and it had paid off. The agent's enthusiasm for my story reignited my passion and reminded me of the power of perseverance. We worked closely together to polish my manuscript, and I was in awe of the process. Each edit brought me closer to a finished product, and the thought of sharing my story with the world filled me with excitement. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, my memoir was published. The launch event took place at a local bookstore in Brooklyn, a place I had often visited during my time in the city. Surrounded by friends, family, and fellow writers, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. I stood before the audience, sharing my journey, my struggles, and my triumphs. As I looked out at the faces of those who had supported me, I felt an overwhelming sense of belonging. The reactions to my memoir were heartwarming. Readers reached out to share their stories, expressing how my experiences resonated with them. I realized that storytelling had the power to connect us in ways I had never imagined. It was an incredible reminder of why I had chosen this path, why I had dedicated myself to the craft of writing. As I reflect on my journey, I see how much I have evolved. New York was more than just a backdrop for my studies. It was a living, breathing entity that challenged and nurtured me. The friendships I forged, the lessons I learned, and the experiences I cherished became integral parts of my story. The city had transformed from a place of uncertainty into a home filled with possibilities. My time in New York taught me that confidence is built through experience and that every stumble is a step toward success. I learned to embrace challenges and view them as opportunities for growth. The vibrant streets of New York, with their relentless energy, pushed me to be the best version of myself. Now, as I navigate my career in the literary world, I hold on to the lessons from my time in New York. The friendships I formed and the stories I encountered continue to inspire me. I often find myself returning to that cozy apartment in Brooklyn in my mind, reflecting on the moments that changed my life. My journey is far from over, but I know I am equipped to navigate whatever comes next. The experiences I had in New York taught me that every ending is simply a new beginning, and I am ready to embrace the adventures that lie ahead. With each new manuscript I read, each author I meet, and each story I help to shape, I carry the spirit of New York with me. The lessons I learned are resilience, connection, and the importance of sharing our narrative are now ingrained in my identity. I have come to understand that storytelling is not just about the words we use, it's about the emotions we evoke, the connections we foster, and the truths we uncover. As I continue to write, to dream, and to share my story, I know that the vibrant streets of New York will always be a part of me. I am excited to see where this journey will take me next, confident that I have the tools to navigate whatever lies ahead. With a heart full of dreams and a pen ready to write, I step forward into the world, ready to embrace the adventure that awaits. The narrative of my life is still being written, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds.